Sam, after a run of losses, how pleasing is it to get back on the winners list last weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of moved past that pretty quick. I think every game you go into, you work really hard during the week and you plan, and players go out and try to execute. And a few things went in our favour last week, which was pleasing. And I thought the boys deserved a win after the block they'd done. But you sort of have 24, 48 hours to think about that, and then you move on pretty quickly. And certainly looking forward at this point.
I remember you saying though last week that you felt like it was much needed, and it felt a bit more important that you did get the result last week. So I imagine that's satisfying that you got some lead.
Yeah, I think. Adelaide, they haven't been perfect this year, but there's some aspects of their game that have really stood up against the best sides, and we were able to handle their pressure reasonably well. And I thought the best part of that game, which we showed some maturity to be able to lose a bit of control of the game and then get it back. So, but we're looking at the big picture, making progress in our game, and that was a step in the right direction. And we've continued to make steps in the right direction with what we're trying to achieve. And having 4 points and the players getting that to be able to sing the song is an important part of that growth. And I was really pleased that they were able to do that last week.
So playing against West Coast, obviously two sides who won't be playing in finals this year. What do you try and get out of these games in the back end of the season?
I think we're on our own journey and we know what we're trying to achieve. And West Coast bring a different sort of threat because they're capable of kicking 7 goals in a quarter against Carlton and producing some really elite football. They've got some elite talent in their squad, and we know that their best is very, very capable. And a little bit like us, their best has been very, very good, but they haven't been able to sustain that throughout games. And so for us, it's going to be a challenge of consistency across this game, because we think if both teams play their best footy consistently, then that ends up a good contest, and the team that can't sustain it for long enough will get overrun most likely.
Jack Gunston, obviously we know why he didn't play last week. Where does he sit this week, and is there anyone else that's might be back this week?
So Jack, he hasn't been able to train with us, and we've had good open conversations with him, and he's had a really tough week planning, a whole range of things. Really pleasingly, he has spent a lot of time, with his family, and it was good. We had him in the club yesterday, and he spoke to the boys, and we told some stories about Ray, which was really nice. It was good to have him in and put our arms around him for a little bit. But he came in this morning and did a few things, but he hasn't trained with us, and he doesn't feel. He's obviously coming off a bit of a sore ankle, so he won't play this week. We'd expect him to be available next week, but by the same token, it's going to be up to him when he feels comfortable and ready to play. And
there's no timeline.
No, I think most likely he'd be available next week, but he's organising the funeral for Friday, and then we play on Sunday, and he hasn't trained with us, and we've just been really open and had good conversations. It's been great to see him the last couple of days, but I think it's the right thing for him.
Anyone else that should be back?
Will Day was suspended, and I don't think there's any others coming in available. So Will Day's available.
Still a couple of weeks away at least.
Yeah, so Chad, he was jogging. He's just, we knew it would be a few weeks, and even, because he'd had a bit of an interrupted prior to the hamstring, he was doing some jogging, and he's still not sort of progressing well enough. So I think at best it was looking like it would be the last game of the year. So we've decided to rule him out for the rest of the season. So unfortunate for him, and he's a bit frustrated, but it's just not coming along as quickly. And the upside to getting him back for the last game, a risk at that isn't worth it. So we really need him to have a really strong pre-season and get on top of this, lack of continuity that he's had, particularly this season, but over the last couple of years.
What was it like for Ned Reeves having Ben McAvoy back on the side?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. I was talking up there with Ben, and we were mentioning that although Ben said, I'll be better for the run, he wasn't too happy with his own game. I think Ned playing in the forward line really for the first time for the year, he was probably going to be better for the run than spending time in the forward half. So I think they'll both perform better this week. We'll do something very similar with the ruck situation, and hopefully they both perform at a level that's really pleasing. But I think the thing that I liked about Ben is everyone else performed quite well when he was there. His follow-up and all those sorts of things, so his tackling was really good. And having Ned having to take a little bit of load off and not having to compromise someone like Connor Nash, and Jacob Kaczynski as well. I think that did help us across the game.
Is there any scenario where you would envisage Buddy Franklin back at the Hawthorn Football Club?
Yeah, I read a bit of that this morning actually, and I mean it's a great fairy tale concept, but with where our list is at and what we're trying to achieve, I don't see it. But who knows?
Do you at least get in touch with him? Where he's at?
Well, I got in touch with him. So last year when Tim O'Brien departed, I got in touch with a lot of the players who had worn sort of key numbers. So I was in touch with him, and he did tongue in cheek say, I said, who would you like in 23? Or what type of player do you like to see in 23? Tongue in cheek, he said, I'll come back and wear it. It was obviously 12 months too late, but we are, a bit of banter there. Well, I haven't checked in, and if I do, I won't be telling you guys about it. So.
And just checking on, you mentioned on the Gunstons, obviously, and what they're going through. I was
Yeah.
chatting with the Deer family just now. A really great cause that the club's supporting this weekend, and obviously you meant a lot to the club.
Yeah, I think I was just talking with Sheree before about Paul Deer and how he was a smaller but strong personality, and I think he played, he's a Norm Smith medalist, and he's in, you're playing with the Dunstall and Dermy and Dipper and all these big names and big personalities, and he was a quieter achiever, but he was such a strong man, and I'm so thankful that our players and even myself got to experience him, a month or so ago, and I think there's been some vision of that has come out, but it was just brilliant. I loved listening to him, and there was some real lessons from from his stories, and then having really appreciated that, and now being able to support his family and their cause around pan care, I think is really important for us. And when it, sometimes you have these games that do hit quite close to home, and having seen him and him coming into the organisation a while ago, I'm really happy that we had that opportunity, and the family's been fantastic in dealing with it all, and they're trying to organise. They're in the middle of this, trying to organise this game, and then they're trying to organise a funeral, and it's a huge job for that family, and the fact that we can be there to help and support, I'm really glad about that.
Just one on Mitch Lewis. He's in outstanding form. How much better do you think he can get it? He's only 23.
Yeah, I think he hasn't yet played his 50th. I don't think. So he's a guy who's continuing to make progress, and I think what I'm enjoying about Mitch Lewis is, for him, it's not about the scoreboard impact. He's obviously kicking goals, which is great, but his influence on games in the air, on the ground, his tackling pressure. He was getting some possessions in the back half last week by pushing up the ground so high, and I think he's just playing a really team-orientated role. He's helping a lot of people around him. He's had some leadership opportunities this year, and he's really grown into those. So I think we're seeing him grow on the field, but also I think that's coming off the back of a lot of growth off the field as well.
Thanks, guys.